Hey everybody, Ben here for the Vendetta podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. Every Friday we get together and we have a look at the top 5 somethings, normally to do with Blood Bowl. Now we're continuing to look at some of the best third-party alternatives out there for your Blood Bowl teams, and today we've got the gribbliest of them all. Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 Nurgle teams. Okay, we really have to start this video by saying just how great the Games Workshop team is. Nurgle is a weird team, and we're going to be looking at third-party alternatives here, but it's a weird team. It's gribbly chaos. It's arguably worse chaos. It is a slow burn team. Nurgle in tournaments have a bit of a challenge. They're actually in the bottom 5 most winning teams in tournaments with Nurgle. But in League, they develop personality, and in League, they develop just a brutal inevitability that really befits the Lord of Disease and just gross stuff. But the Games Workshop team is actually brilliant. The sculpts are fantastic, there's a load of character in them, and the box set isn't too bad. The problem with the box set is you get all 4 of your big boys, but you don't get 4 Pestigors. And for most of the time, for most of your builds, that's going to be okay. But eventually, as you're running a Nurgle team, you are going to need all 4 of those Pestigors. And you really do want the big Chaos Rot Spawn as well. The big tentacle monster that goes with it. So if you want a proper Nurgle team from Games Workshop, not only are you going to have the duplicates there, in the 4 of your Pestigors are going to look almost exactly the same. You're going to need to buy 2 boxes, that's £30 each, that's 60 quid, and then you're going to need to get a Rot Spawn model. Let's say Forge World is, I don't know, £30 with postage. Then you're looking at £90 for a complete Games Workshop team. 1 box will get you most of it, and if you've got a box of Chaos or a random Ogre or something, then you can fill in the gaps and it's not too bad. Games Workshop did a brilliant job with the Nurgle team. They ruined it by dropping the bloomin' Rotters down to Ag 4+ instead of Ag 3+, which really just makes the team very hard to pilot. But people who love a challenge and people who really love Nurgle, and aesthetically it is one of the coolest looking teams out there. But these top 5s are not about the Games Workshop team, they are about what alternatives there are to it. We've already talked through 2 boxes and a big guy is going to set you £80-90. So as we go through this list, we're kind of going to look in those price ranges as well. And every week we put a little post out saying, hey, this week we're going to be looking at this, and a bunch of you make some great recommendations. So this top 5 is put together from my preferences and essentially the most votes that the post got. Massive shout out to Stuart Shelley, who just is a delight. There's a load of you that do a great bit of work, but every week Stuart Shelley just basically gives us a top 10 team. So if you want to see more teams that we haven't featured in this video, then go back to our post and find our Warcry expert. Anyway, we are going to move on to the top 5 third-party Nurgle teams. And at number 5, we've got the Weya Games Pandemic Army. So this was the Nurgle team they kick-started a few years ago, and it was one of their first teams. Now, they have come leaps and bounds with their sculpting and their Kickstarters. They just did the Amazon one, which was a fantastic team. Oh, did they just do the Amazon one, or did they do the... Ooh, maybe they did the Dark Elf ones. More, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Dark Elf, High Elf, Amazons, their last 3 Kickstarters have been amazing. But one of their first big launches was this Pandemic Army thing. And they went all in on the Kickstarter. They had a great story. They had comic books to kind of tell where these teams came from. And they built a little world, which was brilliant. Now, the sculpting of these models, they are bulbous. They are cartoony. They look very much like the things you'd buy in BT's or the other games shop across the road from Games Workshop in the late 90s, early 2000s. But they've got a ton of character, and I just have to call out how brilliant the casting is on all of their stuff. A lot of companies are moving over to high-quality 3D printing. Almost everywhere has moved away from metal. But these guys have stuck with resin, and they have produced some of the cleanest cast resin models I have ever seen. And that was back when they did this Kickstarter. Their newer stuff is just as good, if not better. So that's why I've given them the slight edge. We're going to go with a dual top 5 though, and we're going to include Willy Miniatures in there as well. So you've got the Wear Games Pandemic Army, and we've got the Willy Miniatures Lords of Corruption joint 5th place. So the Wear Games team you can get, I think, is about €65. The Lords of Corruption team is €80. And the quality of production of both of these has to be up there. But the Willy Miniatures ones have gone a more serious route, whereas the Wear Games one has got this cartoony, bulbous route. And I felt like they both deserved a decent shout-out, because the quality of the paint schemes in the Willy Miniatures site is incredible. However, when you look at the models, they look just fine, and Willy Miniatures do a brilliant job of their production quality, of their designs, of their sculpting. Willy Miniatures just do a flipping good job. But it's the big guy for me that sells it for this one. I'm not a huge fan of the Pestigors. They look fine. But this big guy is why I put them in joint 5th place with the Wear Games one. Because it is a massive Cthulhu guy. It's absolutely amazing. Let's see if we can get a bit more of a... I mean, that is just such a cool model. Sadly, I've not seen it in the flesh, so I don't know how big it is. Is it sad? I don't know. I'm not sure it's ever really technically sad not to see Cthulhu, but when the model looks this good, I thought it definitely deserved a mention. That's €80 with everything included, the big guy. So a similar price comparison to Games Workshop, but just a different quality, different style. Very cool Cthulhu. Number 4, we've got Hungry Troll here, and this team is €85, the Plaguefields Team Metal. And it's out of stock. Should have checked that before, shouldn't I? Oh, Plaguefields resin. There we go. Let's go to this one. $85. €85. Okay, fine. €85, and it's resin, and it's in stock. Magical. I thought I was excited. I thought, wow, we can get a metal team here. We could buy this for Bloodtithe Ben and just really upset him. Ben hates metal models after building one of the older Grebo teams. Ooh, all the pinning. Anyway, Plaguefields comes with a ton of cool models for you, and we are going to pull these out and have a better look at them, I think. 7 Rotters, 4 Putrid Beasts, 4 Warriors, and an Abomination with mutations for Warriors and Putrid Beasts. And that's the thing that sells it here. So we've got 16 players with mutations, all the positionals you're going to need, and they are all of a pretty cool design. Now, when it comes to Nurgle, you expect the beast to be bloated and gribbly and have tentacles, and Nurgle tends to go with kind of fly face motifs regularly as well. The big dude just smacks of the old Great Unclean One model from Warhammer. I don't know if you remember it, like the old 40mm base, the big green dude with the big old sword, and it just is absolutely brilliant and absolutely Nurgle. And the fact they come with mutations is brilliant too. Now, the Plague Warriors are very cool. They are exactly what you expect. They are, again, bloated, big Chaos Warriors with that kind of cool gladiatorial helm. Again, it's a weird little sub-theme with Nurgle. They're just like bloaty gladiators, generally speaking. And then you've got all the Nurgle bits. You've got a little dude popping out of that guy's stomach. You've just got gross things going on here. It's Nurgle, and I'm sure that a huge part of why people play Nurgle is just the experience of kit bashing or gluing and things and painting them to such a great standard. And then you've got, very pixelated pictures here of the Putrid Beasts. So you've got 4 Putrid Beasts and 7 Rotters there. And you've got the kind of Carnival cultist head cowls, I guess would be the one I'd go with. I'm not entirely sure what this guy's doing. That looks like a nightmare from the Road Warrior series. But really cool team and definitely worth a shout. I was impressed. I'd not really seen it before, and that is the Hungry Troll Plaguefields. Number 3, and it is a brand new competitor to the market. This is Racco Vendetta. So Racco Vendetta do a Patreon of STLs. They do a Blood Bowl team, and they do some 40k and Age of Sigmar stuff as well. So it's all kind of blended in there. Now, the picture is not the best and probably isn't super good for you guys to see. Maybe that one's a bit of a better shot. But on their tribes slash Patreon this month, they've gone and done an entire Nurgle team, and this was flagged up by a couple of you guys in the comments before, so excellent shout out. And again, you've got this Nurgle style. Now, Racco Vendetta have done a couple of really cool teams recently, and I definitely need to get them to the printer to to check it out. That guy's proper Star Wars. That's just wicked. He's got like a slug head. I love it. You've got the kind of Nurgle Bell theme going on. That guy's straight out of Mutant Chronicles, which I really love. And it is just a mutated, gribbly mess. So those are the Rotters. Let's see if we can get a breakdown of what is exactly in the team here. No, we can't. Okay, never mind. But we can look at the big picture and figure it out. These are a couple of the Pestigors. Now, the mutated mouth tongue theme is incredibly strong with this team. And you will see it, there you go, across the Rotten team, across the bloaters as well. I'm going to call them Nurgle Warriors because that's what they used to be called. The Nurgle Warriors are very Nurgly, and it's just mouths. I love that this guy is putting his stomach mouth open. It's just proper gribbly, properly pulled through, and I'm just really impressed with, one, the level of detail that's gone into there, two, the fact you've got all these different poses, and three, the big guy. Now, the big guy is not a Nurgle clone. This is not a Great Unclean one. This is not a copy of the Forge World one. This is its own abyssal maw of death. It's just arms and tentacles and teeth and basically no eyes. It is just a proper chaos spawn. And this is, again, one of the great things about Nurgle is you get your grimy pus paints out. You get spotches of blood and rip-torn flesh and blending. And, I don't know, I'm really impressed with the team. From the looks of it, you get 1, 2 Pestigors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Rotters, and 4 of your Chaos Warriors. So the 2 Pestigors are probably the only downside of this team. Individually, they're very interesting and very cool models. The fact there's only 2 of them means you're going to have to mirror them, which is not the end of the world. It is marginally better than Games Workshop, and I'm pretty sure that the Racco Vendetta team on Tribes is about £10. So if you've got a 3D printer, you can do that, and if not, it'll be on Etsy. 3D printed teams, you're looking at £35-40, including your big guy, really. So you're probably going to be able to get this team printed on Etsy for less than maybe 1 box of Games Workshop. And number 2, it's Punga. Okay, so Punga Plague Carnival was one of... It was a really interesting team when it landed. So Punga do a Patreon, and in the Patreon, over the course of 2 to 3 months, they will release all the different pieces that you'll need for a team. And they go all out. They go really all out. Their sculpting is phenomenal. I mean, it's very hard to question the quality of it. It's not hard to question the sanity of the amount of pirates that they do, but then they drop this team, which has nothing to do with pirates, and they went super hard into the Carnival of Chaos theme. So this is a Carnival-themed Nurgle team. So if you played Mordheim, this is kind of where that came from, in my opinion. So we've got this weird clown aesthetic, juggling, all balancing, terrifying. This is just the stuff of dreams mixed in with Nurgle, which is also the stuff of nightmares. So it's a really terrifying prospect. And as we flick through these, you can see all the elements of the team. Now, because they did it in 3 pieces, there's a lot of things kind of going into it. So in this release, you've got Chaos Warrior, and one of your Pestigors with some linemen and a coach. In the second part, or the first part, September, October. The second part, you had another Chaos Warrior with a really interesting mask design. The masks and the clown vibe is just terrifying. Another Pestigor, a bunch of linemen, and they are some weird, gribbly linemen. You've got this face. The face of the guy in the middle, Enhance, is just terrifying. And it's just one model. So you've got this creepy clown vibe, you've got the Nurgly pus bubbles and entrails? What are your guts called? I don't know. Entrails are hanging out. Intestines, that's the word I was going for. Along with just this muscle guy, which is really cool, and this creepy face mask guy. This creepy face mask guy's there. And then you've got the third part of the release, which has got the big boy. November. Third part of the release, which has the big boy himself, which is this big Nurgle bell ringing tentacled beast of Nurgle with a circus sign and a little Nurgling to keep him company, which is just fantastic. And you've also got the 4th Chaos Warrior, the 4th Pestigor, and all your little clown dudes, including this weird Scarecrow referee, which I absolutely love, because it was released in November. Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the Punga team went all out, and just provides everything you need for a team in a really well executed, non-standardized theme. So this is not a Games Workshop Chaos theme. This is a Plague Carnival. This is a Nurgle circus. And I think they did a really good job of pulling it off. Now, on the downside, when it comes to Punga, they do break their teams up into 2 to 3 months on the Patreon, which is actually pretty standard now. Let's face it, do we need to print an entire team every 4 weeks? No. Can we paint an entire team every 4 weeks? No. That would be a whole YouTube channel of itself, of which I quite frankly don't want any part of. Do I? No. Blood Tithe can do that. So, the downside is if you want the STLs for these guys and you are not part of their Patreon, they've got them up here at $80, which is just about the same price as buying a team. On the plus side, if you join their Patreon, they do discounts and stuff, so most of it's going to be half price for the STLs at certain points as well. And if you don't have a 3D printer or you don't have the files, we actually do have, I believe, the only license worldwide to produce and print the Punga teams. So if you need this team, then actually boneheadpodcast.com for £40, I think, because it's got lots of stuff in it, you can get this Nurgle team. And I'm really happy to be able to do that, because it is a very cool team. I just love it. It's actually really good. It's non-standard, but it's well executed. So Punga, number 2. Which brings us to number 1, and the other big boy in Blood Bowl is Grebo. So, it's hard to not give them the top spot in this one. The Punga team is gorgeous and stylized. You've got Ware Games as an affordable options that's cartoony, and you've got some other great ones there. But when it comes to executing classic vibes in their own style, Grebo really are the number 1. And this is the Ripper Sick. And from the votes that we got in the comments as well, the Ripper Sick team was in number 1 spot. And the team comes with everything. So €89, so €90, which is, again, what we talked about for the same price as the Games Workshop team. You get 4 Beastmen, 7 Linemen, a Chaos Spawn, and 4 Nurgle Warriors. So you get absolutely everything. You get a 16-man team with all the trimmings. And as we flick through the... Oh, they do such a good job of painting their renders. Okay, we got some great-looking Pestigors. For the 75th time in this video, I'm going to point out that there's entrails, there's gribbly Nurgle bits, they've got little pustules on there. When it comes to Grebo, there's a ton of detail, but if you go contrast on, you can pick out what you want when you want to. So the little pustules, you don't really need to pick them out. But if you want, you can spend that time, make them yellow, make them glow, make them soar. They've got great cracked armor. The Chaos Warriors, the Nurgle bloaters, are big lads. They look really good, and they are very simply executed. They're just bloaters with that classic Nurgle gladiator-style helmet that you are questioning where the head goes, and you've got the armor bits on with that flesh. But it's Grebo. So there's some great little details there to pick out if you need to, and that really is. And then you've got this, which is just a terrifying but perfect model. It is perfect for the Nurgle team. Oh man, that's even better. That actually just looks like Slimer is coming out of him, and he has teeth. So what I said about these guys, where there's not so much detail that you don't need to worry, very true of those guys. When it comes to this guy, you need to worry about that detail, because it is just too cool of a model not to pick up. And talking of too cool of a models, it's just executed brilliantly throughout. So you've got all the linemen with all the bits. Oh, actually, they weren't. They were just linemen. They were the rod spawns. These are the Chaos Warriors, and they are even better looking. Alright, well done. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, okay. I understand why you guys put this team at number 1. It is just an excellent execution of Gribbly Chaos. Gribbly Chaos. It's just Gribbly Chaos and beautifully, beautifully done. Right, this is the Rot Spawn, and that is a Nightmare Fuel as well. This is very Cthulhu, isn't it? Very Cthulhu. This whole vibe of tentacles and mouths everywhere. The Nurgle Shaggoth thing. It's just terrifying. But he has got armor, so at least you can put a number on him. It's wicked, and they've actually got production pictures of the models as well. Yeah, Grebo wins this one, but there are some brilliant alternatives for the Nurgle teams out there. And it is going to be down to you, and this is the really cool thing. Oh, I love that guy as well. Great stuff with the tokens. If you want a gameplay challenge, you've got Khemri, and you've got Nurgle. And you can kind of go dry, dusty bone with Tomb Kings, or you can go fleshy, gribbly, gross with Nurgle. They're going to be challenging. And when you win, it is going to be satisfying. And as the teams develop, they are going to build their character, and they are going to build in a level of terror from Nurgle that very few other teams can keep up with. The Rotters are a vulnerability, but 4 Pestigors, 4 of your bloaters, and 1 big boy, that's 9 players on your team. They're going to live forever, and they are just going to slowly and inevitably build up the SPP they need to get just absolutely fearsome. You've got access to mutations. You've got access to strength skills. This team becomes an absolute nightmare. It might take you 2 or 3 seasons to get there, but when you do, that Nurgle team will be feared as Nurgle himself. So, an excellent bunch of teams. I am really pleased with all of them, and thank you so much for suggesting them. It's really cool when you guys flag certain things that I haven't seen or that maybe other people haven't seen. That's why we do this, is because actually more Blood Bowl is undoubtedly more better. So more teams, also undoubtedly more better. But for now, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.